This podcast is brought to you by PodPro Australia.
Social media, Google, email marketing, systems, website traffic, and the endless content creation that comes with marketing. It's overwhelming, right? Say goodbye to endless stress and hello to clarity with the Meaningful Marketing Podcast. In this podcast, I will share with you fast and free practical methods to help you manage, monetize, and market your business, all infused with a healthy dose of motivation. Let's do this. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Meaningful Marketing Podcast. I'm super excited today because we have got Natasha Denman in the studio today, all the way from Melbourne in the Burleigh podcast studio.
Yes.
Ready to talk today about her journey with the ultimate 48-hour author business. I am a mentor for her community, helping support the authors in being able to market their books and launch their books. And I'm so excited for you to be here today to share with us a little bit about who you are and how, a massive topic, how a book doesn't actually make you money.
Yes, my latest book is Book Sales Won't Make You Rich. So, the real truth, how authors become millionaires. And my journey began, I'm just realizing in May this year, it'll be 15 years since I started this, but the model that I've been known for, it's been going for 11 and a half years. So, writing a book is your business card on steroids, as I like to say.
I absolutely love that. So let's go back a little bit and talk about how you fell into it, because as the Meaningful Marketing Podcast, I always talk about how things need to be meaningful for you as a person, but they also need to be meaningful for the people that you support and help.
Yeah, I love that. Look, the book idea for me was out of desperation that any old school, new school marketing strategies were not really bringing me leads and prospects and clients. And I thought to myself, well, what can I do that's going to give me a big oomph, get me noticed, because I was quite young and I looked younger and I didn't think people were taking me seriously. And I started out as a life coach. And of course, life coaching, there's like, what problem are you solving? And so I was attracting a lot of people around health and wellness and weight loss. And I said, I want to coach, but I've got to solve a problem. So therefore, I wrote the 7 Ultimate Secrets to Weight Loss, which was the first book and the thing that saw me from one paying client, which is when I wrote the first book, to 6 figures within 12 months of that book coming out.
Yeah, excellent. I love that. And I'm going to keep sort of reiterating some really fundamental things here for our audience that are listening. And one of those things is coming up with a really good title.
Yeah. Yes.
The title, I would imagine, is absolutely everything.
Absolutely. You got to use hypnotic words. You got to sell people what they want and sell to the ego in order to give to the soul, I like to say. It's sell them what they want, give them what they need, but the other way that I've rephrased it is sell to the ego, give to the soul. And that's why I guess 7 ultimate secrets to weight loss. Secrets and ultimate, and weight loss is a problem and it's ego-driven. So I think that's a very key thing. Don't be too fluffy.
No, fluffy doesn't work in marketing.
No.
Fluffy does not work in marketing. I always talk about that. So thank you so much. So that is how you fell into that. So then how did you fell into then starting to run a coaching program to write books, to help other authors produce and write their books or publish their books? How did you fall into all of that?
Yeah. So after the book, I realized the coaching I was doing, there was particular order of things, and I created a program. So that's why we say book sales won't make you rich, because then I developed manuals and I licensed those programs and sold them to other life coaches who wanted a niche. And then a lot of people who saw me doing books and programs and manuals, they go, how do you do that? Can you help us do it? And it's like, this was natural to me. I guess all of us have like a genius zone. You don't have to study it from somewhere. Like, I guess being organized and pulling information together is something that comes naturally to me. And so I started product development coaching without having the formal ultimate 48-hour author angle. But then I wrote one of my books in co-authored with another person, 6 chapters each in a weekend in only 3 hours. And I thought, if we could do half a book in 3 hours by simply speaking out the content that's been pre-organized before we go away, then maybe I could show people how to do this in 48 hours and do a full book.
I absolutely love that. So if we go back to our genius zone, a lot of the times people will go, what do I create my offer on? What product am I actually selling? And I always say to everyone, it really is around what feeds your soul. It's what people know you for. It's about stuff that you can never shut up talking about. So if you ask your family and friends, they'll say, you never shut up about talking about this. And, every time you talk about this, it absolutely lights you up. that is your genius zone. It's something that comes really easy to you and is a little bit harder for everyone else.
Yes. I agree.
Yeah, awesome. So let's talk about the process then that you currently have with writing your book, or the process people should go through in writing a book.
Yes, everyone's a little bit different. Sometimes when people say, speak it out, get it transcribed, clean it up, they go, oh, that's like very confronting because I need to know. And they think they won't be prepared to do it or they can't do it. And I said, but with the right system and coaching and step-by-step mentoring along the way, you will. You just need to follow the steps. And once they give it a go, they realize it's not as hard as they made it up in their heads. So even though we teach people that the fastest way is to speak it out, some people still choose to type it, but the unpacking process is still the same. Yeah. And so we go with whatever speed they want to go at, even though sometimes again they go, oh, you guys to go too fast. However, it's not true because we will adhere to everyone's personality.
Yeah, and I think it is. It's about finding that flow.
Yeah.
So I think coaching and accountability is so incredibly important when you're doing anything.
Oh.
If you want to achieve anything in your life, having a coach and having accountability and someone who's been there and done that is absolutely paramount to be able to get there quicker and sooner without the stress and the overwhelm.
Yeah.
And even if people are complaining about, oh, we're going really fast, you're actually finding your flow. You're getting momentum. So it's much better than being stuck.
Yeah.
And stagnant and actually not progressing. And then, 10 years down the line, you still haven't produced a book.
The thing with going slow is you change. So the person that you were 3 or 6 months ago, all of a sudden is a new version of you. And what happens is those people that lag, they start going around in circles, feeling they need to restart again. This is why I actually say, get in, get it done, and get out in the world and do something or grow your business from it. And like you said earlier, the things you talk about most, book writing, I believe, for me, was the vehicle to get me to do my business, which is what I'm really passionate about. And this is why when people do talk to me, I know people want to just fulfill sometimes a memoir or a healing journey, but my favorite authors are the ones that want to build the businesses behind their books. And they want to build 6, 7 figures, multi-7 figures, which I've got examples of, because I know that book was the catalyst to get them moving very quickly.
So let's talk about, how much do book sales go for? Like, how much money are they actually making with books?
Depends what you focus on. If you're going to focus all your marketing efforts on, speaking and selling the book off the back of the room, and that's the only thing that you have available, maybe you will make $20,000-$30,000 if you're like a year, and that'll be a really hard slog, because often I have found selling a $20 book, which is a product, can be harder than selling a $20,000 program, which provides transformation for the person. So I say use the book as a lead magnet, as a relationship builder, as a credibility thing to get the speaking gigs, to get the podcasts and all that sort of stuff, and then have the other things developed where you can actually implement with people, because that's where you actually help them. Because 95% of people don't read past chapter 1. They just want to know you have a book, and how else can you help them?
Yeah, 100%. And we spoke about that earlier. We're speaking about coaching, accountability, and then again, that transformation, because it's hard on your own. If it was that easy, everyone would do it and we'd all be great. Yeah. But the reality is that, being able to have a coach or someone else to support you through this change is really important. And it creates all these other opportunities. Yeah. So I love that, obviously using it as a lead magnet, because so many people, think it's the other way around. They're going to make lots of money with a book, and it's not the way. It's around forming a book, a business, a service that you're going to be an online course, anything else that you can do. And this is something obviously I'm passionate about helping Natasha's community with, is having a look at how can we utilize that book to create a lead magnet. How do we then come up with what that's going to be, come up with the hook, come up with the connection part, come up with something that's really, cheeky or conversational, or something that's going to grab attention, so that it can bring them closer towards you, so that you can develop that know, like, and trust, connect with them so that they stay inside your proximity, rather than go out and go looking for something else and find someone else.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, which is awesome. Yeah, awesome. So let's talk about the elephant in the room, which is going to be ChatGPT and writing a book using ChatGPT. Yeah. So talk a little bit about that for me.
Look, I use it all the time, but not to write my books. I wrote my latest book 6 months ago, and I did not look at anything. I just wrote from what I knew. I always write books from my own personal experience. What has worked for me, just share that and put it in my own words with my own stories. No one can tell your own stories, not with the emotion, not with the way you speak, because often when people meet me, and they've, say, read my book or watched my YouTube videos or whatever it is, they go, oh, I feel like I know you. It's exactly you.
Yeah.
You know, ChatGPT cannot do that. And how will you feel knowing you kind of cheated? You know what I mean? Like when you're writer's block to get unstuck, some very basic copy editing, it's great for, because I also don't know where to put the commas and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So if I just put it in and I go just basic copy editing, do not change, do not summarize, do not do this, like that's how I prompt it. It literally spits out the exact same thing, just with the right punctuations and spelling and all that sort of stuff. I use it for that kind of stuff. So I really, really think don't go there, because nowadays also the editors are running the manuscripts through plagiarism checks, but also often through now AI detectors and things like that, because often you don't know if you're ripping someone else's content off, because it is a large language model that is taking from everywhere on the internet. And authenticity, I mean, you want to know that the blood, sweat and tears that you put into this project were like your own thing, you know, it just would feel so fake. And I think success doesn't follow people who just find the, like, you know, the shortcut, like that's not authentic.
Well, the reality is that people can sniff ChatGPT. You can read something and straight away go, oh my gosh, this is ChatGPT. Now, if you're trying to develop a relationship with your audience and someone's reading your book, if they're sniffing it, they're not going to connect with you. They're not going to feel the authenticity behind you. They're not going to want to work with you as a coach because they're going to go, well, hold on a sec. You know, how are you going to be in real life? Because this doesn't connect with me. I don't feel you. This feels like ChatGPT and all other ChatGPT things. So you lose out on that credibility. You use out on that connection, and it's going to make it more difficult for you to cut through in your marketing as well. Because in marketing, I love ChatGPT. We train people on how to use ChatGPT in their marketing. But if you don't use it correctly and put the human intelligence into it, and you put the human intelligence in first, then the AI, then the human intelligence again. If you don't go the long way and do it properly like that, it's not going to truly represent your business. You're not going to effectively communicate with your audience. People are going to smell it, and you're going to lose out on clients. Because people actually, especially after the C word COVID, people are actually wanting to connect with people. They're wanting connections. They don't want to feel blah. You know?
Even me running my event online after 4 years, I kind of lost the energy for it and went back out into the real world and meeting people again, and just them seeing that I'm not a scam, that I'm a real person and all that sort of stuff. That's been so rewarding for me. And people buy from people as much as we have these tools nowadays. And I can tell you, a lot of my normal life, I ask ChatGPT for solutions, or how do I fix this, or how do I deal with that. But I just keep it to the side when I'm being creative, because I want it to be because I invented something, not because that was like suggested from ChatGPT.
Yeah, and it's a legacy as well. It's something that's going to be handed down, you know, to your family. And so you want it to be a true representation of who you are and how you are. No, I love all of that. So let's give the audience just some examples of how it has worked. So for example, I've worked with many of your authors, and, you know, I've got one author, she came to me, she had no email list. She was a nurse. She had no idea what her offer was going to be, because she was a nurse, but she really, really wanted to be able to, when we delved into it, she wanted to be able to help other people in the nurse professions have a better work-life balance, better mindset, better quality of life. And she wanted to support nurses so that then they could support or be better at nursing.
Yes.
And she was about to launch her book. I think we did it over about 3 months together, working together. We went out, we created lead magnets, we built her online social media presence. We looked at her key messages and how she was going to effectively communicate to those people, where she was going to find them online, how she was then going to pull them in with a lead magnet. And then when she actually launched her book, we were able to launch, I think she had an email list then of about 300, and I think she sold 70 books on her launch day. Because when people go to launch, I love it. They always go, I'm going to go launch. And I'm like, who are you launching to? You don't have anyone in your socials. This is the first time you've ever spoken to someone about this new thing that you're doing. Who are you launching to? So you do have to have that pre-launch thing going.
You have to build a network and a list ahead of the time.
100%.
I always, with my first book, say the first book wasn't just the thing that was the success that the book came out. I said in the previous 12 months, one of the advice I was given by my coaching school where I studied, they said go networking twice a week. And from those networking events, connect with people, build your database, stay in touch, keep showing up, build the like, know, and trust. So when the first book came out, 12 months later, I had attended 100 events, which meant that when I did go out with the book, people wanted to collaborate, people wanted to give me a speaking gig. And from those things, the clients came.
Yeah, love it.
So like what you say, there's a pre-launch period of what you got to do and build that hungry crowd.
Yeah, so I think the first thing is coming up with the overall strategy of who is my audience and what am I actually selling from this book? Like, what is, we talk about the funnel, what is the actual funnel? The book is in that funnel, but where does that book sit in that funnel? Yeah. And I like to use the word customer journey because it just makes a bit more sense. And then we go, what is the content marketing plan that's going to remain consistent online? Where do we find that audience? How do we get them off social media into an email list? So we've got people inside our tribe that we can continue to market to every time we sell a book, every time we do an event, every time we launch a new coaching program. It is part of a bigger thing, a much bigger thing. Yeah. So is there anything else you can share with our audience right now? If they're thinking about writing a book, what advice would you give them?
Well, I have 4 obstacles that I know people are going to have to overcome, and doing it on your own. Like I say, if you want to go slow, go solo, because it's going to take forever because you don't know what you do, especially if it's your first book. I always say at least get your help with your first book and then you kind of know what you should be doing. But I have 4 obstacles that I know every single first-time author will need to overcome. Number 1 is structure. So even the thinking of, how am I even positioning this book? Because ultimately it'll be part of my marketing. You know, you can't just be fluffy with your title and tagline and blurb and all that sort of stuff. So structure is the key to getting started. Okay. And that's where my husband in our business currently gets people to go, and then they start to see the full big picture. Second thing is accountability, the key to getting finished. That's why I said, if you go slow, if you want to go slow, go solo. And these are the 2, yet a lot of people seem to undermine those 2 and jump straight into obstacle 3, which is publishing. So they buy a publishing package of a, say, self-publishing company, yet they haven't written their book. Yeah. And so a lot of the time they'll be spending 6 to 10 grand on a publishing package, and they actually are flushing money down the toilet because they don't submit their book. The manuscript is nowhere to be seen for years, and that erodes the investment they've made. And the company 3 years, what they're going to say, well, I'm sorry, but like that was 3 years ago. So don't buy a publishing package until you can have actually finished your book, which is your 3rd obstacle. So then obstacle 3 is publishing, the key to a professional book, which means that you want to do it properly. Don't just slap it together. If you don't know how to vet an editor or a controlled design, you shouldn't be doing it. Get someone who's done it a million times over and over so that you get a professional product, because otherwise it takes away from your credibility. It looks like it's been done in the back office or whatever. And the final thing, which is we're arriving at the marketing stuff, and people then get their book in hand and go, oh my God, I'm so proud of myself and I did it. And then they have this big realization, let's say after the big launch period finishes, they have a book launch maybe, they realize the book sales maybe have declined or fully dried up. And that's when the 4th obstacle, and why you're mentoring our community, and we have a lot of other mentors in different areas that teach people, is number 4 is leverage, which is the key to making an impact. And leverage has to do with marketing activities and what are you doing and how are you continuously being consistent so that the book is actually now the central part to how people maybe find out about you and gets you the opportunities ongoing till you're ready to not do what you're doing anymore.
I love all of those. Such amazing things. So if you just want to just go through the 5 things again for me quickly.
4 things. So structure, the key to getting started. Accountability, the key to getting finished. Publishing, the key to a professional book. And then number 4, leverage or impact, like I would call that, the key to helping others.
Yeah, awesome. Love all of that. So thank you so much for sharing that with us today. Let's talk about your marketing for a sec, because it is the Meaningful Marketing podcast. So in your business, what would you say is the most meaningful marketing strategy that you've used within your business? And I mean, I know 2 inside your business that are phenomenal, but which one would you like to share with us today?
Of course, aside from the books, which are the obvious thing but my seminar that has been running now, well, it's coming into the 12th year. It's a 4-hour seminar. It's a 2-hour online or a 4-hour face-to-face. It's an introduction. It teaches a ton of value, partly coming from the books. The content is in the book, but people want to receive it from the, horse's mouth, as they say. And by adding so much value, I'm meeting people, they're coming to a free event. And if there is a good match and they're in the right time and place, if not, they stay on the database. We nurture. And maybe in 6 months, so often I'll have people say, I've been following you 5-10 years even nowadays. And then they start working with us. So that seminar we run 35 to 40 times a year, live, always live, not a evergreen. Although we have tried an evergreen strategy, but sometimes for some people and personalities, particular marketing strategies may not work. You know what I mean? It's like, I know mentors of mine who have evergreen funnels that they never deliver anything live and they know their numbers and all that sort of stuff. And it works like magic for them to have 8-figure businesses. But for me, I don't know if my heart and soul's not into it. And if it's not into it, generally sometimes a marketing strategy won't work. But I love delivering in front of audiences, which means that lights me up, so it gets me results.
Love that. So we're talking about meaningful marketing strategies. And again, we always talk about it has to be meaningful for the business owner. So it's meaningful for you. You said during COVID it was terrible. You wanted to get out again and about. And the other thing is that people are going to be spending like a year with you. They're going to be spending a lot of time with you making a book. They've got to feel comfortable with you. So the face-to-face, I mean, it's logical that the face-to-face is really going to work. You've got the online one as well, which, I call a webinar funnel as well. So we've got the webinar funnel. We've got the event marketing funnel in there as well. You discussed an evergreen funnel. For those of you who are not unsure what an evergreen funnel is, an evergreen funnel is when you take a pre-recorded recording and you have that on your website on demand. So somebody can put in their contact details and they can get it straight away as on-demand content. So great strategies that you shared with us today. Super, super excited. Is there anything else you want to leave our audience with? Some little bit inspiration?
Well, I always say one of my favorite quotes is when they say entrepreneurs live a few years of their life like most people won't, so they can live the rest of their life like most people can't. I don't know exactly who said that, but I read it early in my business, and I was like, I'm working so hard and not having any weekends or nights and all that sort of stuff. But like, that was only a few years. After that, the lifestyle and everything that's been systemized and organized and team and all that kind of stuff, it does end up being cruise control and just rinse and repeat and stay innovative. I guess is also really important because times change. When we had to pivot in COVID, my whole business was offline, went online very successfully. Luckily, people were locked up and finally could focus on their book writing dreams. So that was a bonus for us. But then it wasn't all that cut out to be. The laptop lifestyle sometimes is just like you want people.
It's soul destroying.
Zoom is wonderful, and certainly my international clients and all that, being able to work with people all over the world is wonderful. But I still want to come here like we are today, and it just builds the relationship. The person, even if you've met them for 2 hours, you've been in the same room, it feels different when you then see them on Zoom.
I remember I had a lady, she came to me, a business coach, and she said to me, Chantal, I want to work with you. You get great results. I want you to build this business for me, but I never ever want to talk to anyone and I don't want to be part of my business brand and I want them to buy my coaching program. And I said, no, I can't work with you. I was like, even Tony Robbins does live events, he's still got a personal brand, and people know who he is. No one is going to, she was trying to sell a $10,000 product. No one is going to pay $10,000 to a complete stranger who they haven't connected with and trust their content. They're just not going to do that. So I think it's important for us to be real. We've got to be real about the things that we do as well, which is important. Cool. So how can people connect with you? And do you have any free resources on your website that people can access?
Yeah, there's a ton of free stuff on the website. It's very easy. We bought the right domain, writeabook.com.au. So very easy to look that one up. There'd be a link to the free training, either the online or the face-to-face events that you can register and come along to. As I said, because it runs all the time, the next date would be available there. There's other resources that are free on there as well. Just look around the website, look at the authors, all that sort of stuff. So
I always say do a stalk.
Do a good stalk
Do a
and all the
stalk.
socials and all that sort of
Yeah,
stuff.
right now people are needing to be touched in their special places a lot
Yeah.
more frequently, I say.
Yes.
So previously I could do a sales call with somebody and I could convert them on the phone, straight away.
Yeah.
Now it's a case of I send them some podcasts, I send them
Yes.
some blogs,
Reviews.
some
Oh.
reviews. You've got to make sure that you do your due diligence.
Yeah, and keep collecting that. Don't just do it for a period of time. Like my husband used to ask me, why do we need to keep getting all these video testimonials after every retreat we are hosting? And I said, because we need the fresh ones. We can't have one from 9 years ago. Like we want the new ones. And by keep getting them, we keep putting up new ones and we look like we're in business for a long time, not just, having regurgitating something from 8 or 9 years ago.
Yeah, I love that. So again, getting testimonials from your audience is super, super important, especially if you're running, events. You can quite easily get those reviews then as well.
Yeah.
Publishing their books. I see you always put up these are our latest authors post with all the authors and all their books as well.
What's in editing, what's in layout.
Love that. Yeah. So good. So thank you so much for joining us today. For our audience, if you haven't already, please make sure that you like, rate, or share this episode with somebody who you think it may benefit. This is Chantal, Gerardy, and Natasha from the Meaningful Marketing Podcast.
See you guys.
Thanks for listening in. Meaningful marketing is all about you making your marketing meaningful. If you've enjoyed today's episode, please hit that subscribe button. But subscribing means that you won't miss out on future episodes all about marketing and motivation. Stay inspired, stay focused, and make your marketing meaningful.